Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Monday, February 17, 2020. I want to bring you a story deriving out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And the source for this story is CNN. Missing Milwaukee woman and two daughters found dead in a garage. A Milwaukee woman and her two daughters, who went missing earlier this month, were found dead in a garage Sunday, authorities said. An Amber Alert was issued Thursday for Amara Banks, 26, and her daughters, Zanaya Ivory, 5, and Kamaria Banks, 4, after Banks was reported missing by her family on February 9th. The three were found dead Sunday. Autopsies were scheduled for Monday, the Milwaukee Medical Examiner said on Twitter. Arzell Ivory, Banks' boyfriend, gave police investigators information that led them to the Milwaukee garage where Banks and her daughters were found, Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales said in a news conference. Ivory, 25, is being held in Memphis, Tennessee on a charge of fugitive from justice without a warrant, according to Shelby County jail records. He has not been charged in connection with the deaths, Morales said. Ivory appeared before a judge Monday and waived an extradition hearing. He is expected to return to Wisconsin to face an aggravated battery charge. The Memphis Police Department called Milwaukee police Saturday to tell them it had been in contact with Ivory, Morales said. It was unclear whether Ivory has legal representation. Banks and her children were last seen February 8th, Milwaukee police said. It was also on that day that Ivory was charged with aggravated battery in Milwaukee, according to online court records. Banks' mother, Valeria Spinner Banks, told CNN affiliate WITI she last saw her daughter the day before, after the funeral for Banks' one-year-old son, Arzell. Banks' sister dropped her off at her apartment after the funeral, Spinner Banks told the station. She's just the kind of person that's very consistent, Spinner Banks said, for her not to get in contact with us and not to let us know that something is wrong. CNN's Chuck Johnston contributed to this report. Now for my commentary. I'm going to back up a little bit. Last day she was seen was the 8th. Same day that this Arzell Ivory, caught a aggravated battery charge. Very suspicious to me. Okay, so very, very odd. Just buried a child last week, 1 year old. Last day she's seen is the same day that this Ivory dude gets a aggravated battery charge. Then he's found in Memphis. So now you have to ask yourself, he's also the one who led the authorities to the dead bodies in the garage. So this is a lot to take in, and really we can speculate at this point. I just redid this video because I had to go back, because when I was trying to upload, I was saying to myself, wait a minute, I got to redo this because I'm missing key points that I want to make in this commentary. Ivory gives information to the authorities where to find the bodies in Milwaukee. Now, mind you, he's in Memphis giving information to those officials down there. So what are you doing down there and not in Milwaukee, and you just buried another baby last week? Quit playing. Okay. So, missing by her family February 9th. He leads them to the garage. He leads the authorities to the garage where her Banks and her daughter were found. He's right now in Memphis in jail, but not being charged in the connection. This is too much, too much, too much. And as they state, February 8th, the day that she and her children were last seen, he is charged with aggravated battery. So 9 times out of 10, he beat that woman, went and killed her and her 2 kids, and then fled to Memphis. And now what I have to ask myself is this as well. How did the 1-year-old end up dead? Because, see, I didn't really think about the battery charge, and I just overlooked that, and that's why I said I had to redo the video. One baby was buried last week. Then she goes missing shortly after that, her and her 2 kids. Then you find out he had an aggravated battery charge on the day that she goes missing with her 2 kids. Okay? So this is some crazy nonsense right here. And I'm trying to get the names right. Ivory, the 5-year-old daughter, has his last name. Then it says Kamaria Banks 4. That'll be the child under the 5-year-old. She has the mother's last name. So now I'm starting to wonder. The 5-year-old has the daddy's last name. Yeah, I'm going there because it's public information. But the 4-year-old has the mother's last name. So now it makes you wonder, is he not the father of the 4-year-old? And was he the father of the 1-year-old that was just buried? And what happened to the 1-year-old? I will surely bring you some information on that. Should have possibly did a search on that baby's death just to see what came up on that. But I may jump back on here shortly with another video pertaining to the death of the 1-year-old, because this is a very messed up scenario. One could spin it many ways. Something jumped off that he was mad about the death of the 1-year-old. So he took revenge on the mother and the children. But now you find out he had a domestic charge same day she goes missing. Why would he kill the other 2 kids? What did they do? They didn't harm the other child or you. So you would have no reason to kill those 2 children. You see what I'm saying? So this is a wicked tale. Baby 1 years old, just buried a week ago. She goes to the funeral. Sister drops her off. Nobody hears from her again, and her 2 children. Same day she's last seen, the boyfriend has caught an aggravated battery charge and then ends up in Memphis, which anybody with sense would say, what is he doing down there? And he's also the one who led the authorities to the dead bodies in the garage. Sometimes I don't like to give my opinion and assume anything when I first hear a story, but I can now in this said video. Ivory did this. He killed that girlfriend and those 2 children. I don't know if the last child is his or not. I don't even know if the 1-year-old is his or not. But I do know this. He killed that girl and them 2 kids because he led the authorities to her body and the other 2 children. And now I'm suspicious to how the 1-year-old died, and if the 1-year-old's death is connected to these deaths here some type of way. Is somebody pointing a finger at the time, blaming the other party for the death of the 1-year-old perhaps? Was there something that jumped off that caused the 1-year-old to die accidentally or on purpose? You know I'm curious, and naturally anyone would be with this type of information, because this is too many things happening within a week's time. You're now talking about 4 dead people related in a week's time. 1-year-old dead last week, buried. Mother and 2 children go missing next week, then found dead in a garage. And the missing link is the boyfriend baby daddy. Did I get that right? Lord have mercy, Jesus. Let me tell you something. You have to be very careful of the people you partake with and take up with, especially you women and you men too. Out here making babies with people you don't know anything about. You guys impregnating ladies you don't know anything about. And by the time you do get to know him or her, it is too late. You are already pregnant and or have the child, and or you've already gotten that lady, girl, pregnant. You see, this is a very wicked tale, because there is some shiesty, you know what, going on with these folks. And somebody obviously had a temper. Somebody wasn't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And now we have 4 deceased people, an adult and 3 small children, snuffed out for some reason. And really there was no reason. No matter if the parents had issues with one another, you don't kill the whole damn family. Because the children don't have a dog in the race. If it was a personal issue, I can't say, because naturally I don't know. But I'm leaning towards this Ivory dude being the culprit behind the 3 dead bodies in the garage. And now I'm leery to if he had anything to do with the dead child that they just buried last week. Killing people, it's not the right thing to do. It's just not. Go to the authorities if you think they have anything to do with a death, suspicious accident, anything. Okay? And people need to be leery of the people that they're also taking up with. And I say this earnestly because too many scenarios jump off because people don't know one another. You take up with strangers, you set up house with people you don't know a damn thing about them, and then too, when you do learn things, you still mess with them, sleep with them, bed, take care of them, aid them, whatever. Know when to fold. Know when to say, this relationship isn't working. I don't need to be doing this. I don't need to be with him. I don't need to be with her. I don't need to be making babies. I don't need to be having babies. We are all flawed, make mistakes, but when you start counting up baby after baby, you have to ask yourself, did you see signs that this person was not right? Same with him, because I don't know the dynamics of these two, of their relationship. But we know those 3 bodies didn't get in that garage by accident. And it's only going to be a matter of me jumping back on telling you he's been charged with the murder of that girl and her 2 kids. And it'll be sure enough messed up if we hear he had something to do with the 1-year-old that was buried last week. And imagine being the mother of this woman and the grandmother of those 2 children. She now has to find a way to bury 3 people, her daughter and her grandkids, and just buried a 1-year-old last week. This is wicked. People are crazy out here. Crazy. Have mercy. That's all I can say. Like and share and drop your comments below. And thanks for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Bye-bye.